For people who don't know, I will explain to you. Purim is like Halloween, but for Jews. And Chaya is like cringing at my explanation. But
no, please explain it to us, you secular Israeli. Tell us about Purim.
Basically, I'll tell you. Something happened bad. There was a king in Persia, in Iran, and there was a Jew, and then the king married the Jew's wife.
No.
And then and then they had a big Chaya, they had an orgy.
Oh my God.
No, you know that's what happened. They had a big feast. What do you think feast means? They had a big feast, and then we eat Hamantaschen.
Wow. That is the Whoopi Goldberg version of Purim.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'll do better.
Next week, we are going to be reading the Book of Esther on this podcast so that Yael can learn.
Ooh, can I tell you, before you explain to us about Purim, can I tell you a funny story?
Sure.
I was dating this guy once who wasn't Jewish, surprise. And it was Purim, and he lived in Brooklyn. So I took the subway, and then on the way to the subway, this guy, this Hasidic guy is like, "Are you Jewish?" And I always like to talk to these people. So I'm like, yeah. And he's like, it's Purim, and it's a mitzvah to read the Megillah.
Right.
And I'm like, cool, yeah. And he's like, do you want me to read the Megillah to you? Because it's a mitzvah. And I'm like, sure. Because I'm like, who am I to turn down a mitzvah, right? So we literally go into this guy's van. But this is like one of those Chabad vans. Yeah. And I sit in the front seat, and he sits in the driver's seat. And he just reads the whole thing to me, like they do. And I'm just sitting there. And then I had to explain to my boyfriend why I was late, because I was like sitting in a van with a strange man who had to read an ancient text to me.
That's such a cute story. It's so cute. And in particular for me, because my son spent a lot of time learning how to do that, how to read the Megillah like that. And he's so proud of himself because he spends the whole day of Purim doing that, where he'll just find Jews and be like, can I read the Megillah to you? And he does it in 17 minutes or 16 minutes. Every year he challenges himself to do it faster and faster. Aww. And I know. And last year,
so imagine me sitting there for 15 minutes being I know. But I did get a bag of candy at the end. So
good.
There's that.
Yeah. That's so
okay,
funny.
so tell us in less than 17 minutes what the story of Purim
Oh my God, I'll tell in 2 minutes. It was the Jews were exiled from the land of Israel after the destruction of the first temple, and they were brought to Persia basically at the time. And the king there I'm not going to go into all the details how he has his first wife killed, and then he's looking for a wife, and Vashti, and then he ends up marrying Esther, who was
was the sister of the Jew,
or niece or cousin or whatever of Mordecai the Jew, and there was this bad guy Haman, and he wanted to get rid of the Jews. He hated them with a passion, and he hated Mordecai in particular. And he convinced the king to sign a decree that they're going to kill all the Jews on the 14th day of Adar, which is Purim. And Purim actually means lottery, because that was the date that they came out with when they made the lottery of when it should happen for poor. And to make a long story short, the king did not know that Esther was Jewish. It was hidden from him the whole time that even when he married her, she had kept it hidden. And eventually she came out to him and said, I'm a Jew, and you're destroying my people, blah, blah, blah. And she saved the Jewish people. Her and Mordecai saved them because they convinced the king to hang Haman and his terrible family and save the Jews. So it became a big holiday.
Well, first of all, the king saved them. So I think we should be celebrating the king.
No, the king did not save them.
And this sounds oddly like the plot of Aladdin, where there's, right? Is Haman Jafar?
Yes.
Did he have a parent?